Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Poetry Corner. Thank you for joining me. We'll go back to Greycliff, or A Lighthouse Keeper's Tale, Davy Snow and Lorna, and let's see how we get on. This is chapter 20, The House at the End of a Cove. So let's see what happens when I venture into Westgate Cove. At the far edge of Westgate Cove, where the sand gave way to stone and the sea pressed closest to land, stood a single house apart from the others. It leaned slightly as though listening to the waves. Weather had worn its timber pale, the windows were narrow, their glass clouded with age. A crooked fence traced the property's edge, more of a suggestion of boundary than true barrier. No smoke rose from its chimney. Yet the house was not abandoned. Lorna felt it before she saw the sign of a life. A warm beneath the quiet, a presence that lingered like an old breath. This must be it, she murmured. Davy followed her gaze. The end of a cove, he said softly. If the story sleeps anywhere, it's there. They approached slowly, boots crunching over pebbles. As they neared, Lorna noticed a small thing that told of care. Driftwood stacked neatly by the door, a rope mended with fresh twine, and a lantern polished despite the salt air. Someone lived here. Lorna raised her hand to knock, then hesitated. What if they don't want to remember, she whispered. Davy leaned closer. Then we'll leave them their peace. She nodded, gathering courage, and knocked gently. For a moment there was only the sea. Then footsteps, slow measured, crossed the floor within the door. The door opened to more than a hand's width. An elderly lady peered out, her hair white as sea foam, her eyes sharp and knowing. Yes, she asked, her voice thin but steady. Lorna said, I'm sorry to disturb you. My name is Lorna. She added then, Lorna Hale. Something flickered in a woman's eyes. Recognition, perhaps, or surprise long deferred. Ale, she repeated. The door opened wider. Well then, she said quietly, you'd best come in. The interior smelled faintly of salt and lavender. The room was small but carefully kept. A fire burned low in the hearth. Along the walls hung objects softened by time, nets, old oars, a framed photograph of so faded its face they were nearly ghosts. The woman gestured them to sit. I am Mrs. Calder, she said, though once I was Cora. Lorna's breath caught. Cora? She whispered. The woman nodded, her gaze distant now, fixed on the flames. Cora Hale, she said. Before marriage, before the sea took more than it gave. Silence settled heavily between them. Davy remained still, sensitive it was not his moment to lead. Lorna drew the letter from her coat with trembling hands. This was found near our lighthouse, she said, carried by the sea. She passed it across the small table. Mrs. Calder's hand shook as she took it. The moment her eyes fell upon the name at the bottom, a soft broken sound escaped her, a breath caught between a laugh and a sob. Rowan, she whispered. She pressed the paper to her lips, then to her heart. I always believed he tried to reach me, she said quietly, even when the others told me to let go. Tears traced slow paths down her weathered cheeks. He loved the sea, she continued, but he loved me more. He promised he'd come back before winter. Her voice faltered. The storm came instead. Lorna reached across the table, her hands covering Cora's. He never stopped loving you, Lorna said gently. His letter carried that truth across time. Cora nodded, unable to speak for a moment. At last, she murmured, the sea has given me something back. The fire crackled softly outside, waves whispered against stone, and in that small house at the end of the cove, a long-held sorrow finally loosened its grip. So there you go, guys. Join me tomorrow for chapter 21, A Promise Fulfilled. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the story there in Greycliff. The message in the box has been delivered to the rightful owner, the widow. Now she's got some closure on her long lost love. Now guys, join me tonight. We're going off to Topsy Tickle Town. Topsy Tickle Town. I can't remember what it's called, guys. We're off to Topsy Tickle Town. It's a brand new series, and it's I think it's called The Lantern That Wouldn't Stay Lit or something. So I'll find out tonight, guys. Join me tonight for Topsy Tickle Town, where we'll get into a brand new adventure. So we wrapped up the other one about the something in the tide pool. So we're going off to Topsy Tickle Town for a brand new series. So join me for that tonight. Look forward to that. And until then, have a very lovely day. And stay safe, stay blessed. And let's go to Topsy Tickle Town tonight. You've got invitation. There you go. Until then, have a lovely day, guys. Stay safe. And join me tonight in Poetry Corner for Topsy Tickle Town. There you go, guys. Now we've done Topsy Tickle, we can have coffee, but not before we say Westgate Cove and seashells and sea foam before coffee. Here we go. That's better. Shiver me timbers, polish me barnacles. There you go. That's an old pirate saying. So there you go, guys. Take care now. And thank you for joining me this morning.